there's just so much at stake for McGregor at UFC 246. I mean, just the possibility of losing the Cowboy, which is a really real possibility. What's left for him? Well, let's talk about the back-to-back losses both men have. McGregor's not a big deal, I'll explain. Cowboy is a much bigger deal. He's coming off a loss against Floyd Mayweather Jr. in a boxing ring. It's not a big deal. No one's ever beaten Mayweather in a boxing ring. Professional boxers. McGregor's a UFC fighter. Now, he's got great striking skills, but he's not a professional boxer, so there's a difference. Not a big deal. It would have been shocking if he won. Now, the other loss against Khabib, you're talking about the greatest grappler of all time. This guy used to wrestle bears. Those big, hairy beasts, yeah. So, McGregor's had weakness on the ground. He's no slouch, but against Khabib, anybody could be considered a slouch on the ground. So that loss was not a big deal. It was, no surprise. Khabib has an undefeated UFC record. That's literally impossible unless you're just starting off. This guy's got over 20 wins, so it's pretty crazy talent that McGregor lost to. Greatest boxer of all time in a boxing fight, greatest grappler of all time in a UFC fight that ended up becoming a grappling match, unfortunately, for McGregor. Now, the losses that Cowboy Cerrone has, he's kind of on a downward spiral. Now, don't get me wrong, Justin Gaethje and Tony Ferguson, they're no slouches, but let's face facts. Cowboy's 36. He's on a downward spiral. His chin's been tested lately. He's gotten finished. He just doesn't have that momentum. McGregor, he's had time to rest. He had time to think. He's crazy about the training right now. I'm not sure exactly why he wants 170 instead of 155. Both men had plenty of time to make 155, so I don't necessarily think either one of them have an advantage at 170. They're both going to be healthy. They're both going to have a lot of energy. They're not going to have to, cut too much weight, fortunately. And McGregor's got the advantage on the feet. Cowboy, he's a great jiu-jitsu artist. He's got his black belt. He can take guys out. He can surprise guys, but he's a fan favorite. He said he's going to keep this on the feet, and he's not the one to disappoint. He's got more wins than anybody in the UFC. He's got more finishes than anyone in the UFC. He's got more post-fight bonuses than anyone in the UFC. He's not going to want to give that up. He's going to want to give fans what they want. At the end of the day, what more does Cerrone have to prove? He's a guaranteed inductee into the UFC Hall of Fame. Beating McGregor on the feet just puts another feather in his cap. So there's a lot at stake for him as well. He actually just signed a new 7-fight UFC contract starting with this McGregor fight, and there's no reason why he's not going to take it super serious. He doesn't want to be a gatekeeper. Like, he's still a contender for a title shot in lightweight or welterweight. He's that good. He's only a few fights away. And if he beats McGregor, this sets up an amazing, huge, big fight this summer for him. So he knows there's a lot at stake, but the pressure is really on McGregor. Dana White even said it's crucial for McGregor to win this fight for McGregor's 2020. There's big plans for McGregor. There's that potential Khabib rematch at lightweight for the title. McGregor could reclaim that. There's Jorge Masvidal, who's waiting in the wings. He's probably been one of the most dominant talked about fighters in 2019, and if McGregor could take him out at welterweight, that pretty much guarantees McGregor a shot at the welterweight title. And if McGregor won that would be history making. He was, I believe, the first time who held two simultaneous titles, the 145 and 155. If he gets the 170, being a 3-weight class title holder, no one's ever done that in the UFC. No one probably ever will again. Leave it to McGregor to create history. I could foresee that happening in probably 2021, or who knows, maybe late 2020. Let's say he gets the Cowboy fight like people thinks he will, and that sets him up, and he goes for Masvidal, or even Khabib. Either way, if he's planning to fight 3 times in 2020, which he's alluded to, that basically sets up either a great title defense for lightweight at the end of the year, or it sets up basically a welterweight title shot against maybe Usman, or depending if Usman retains the title or not. He was pretty dominant against Colby Covington, so Usman might hold this title for a while. But can you imagine him and McGregor? I'm not so sure McGregor could match his pace, and that wrestling is second to none. But either way, that would be like the biggest UFC event in history, going for the trifecta. So what if none of these big plans actually play out and McGregor actually loses to Cowboy, on the feet no less? Well, there's not much he can do this in 2020 in the UFC. The only thing I really see as a possibility, I know Dana White and Floyd Mayweather Jr. are talking, and they're setting something up for later this year. It'd make no sense for McGregor to have another rematch as far as boxing goes, especially if he loses a striking match against Cowboy. The only thing they could do really is maybe have Mayweather do an actual UFC bout, and people want to see him against McGregor, especially if McGregor came off a loss against Cowboy. It wouldn't be like McGregor's ultimately dominant, even though he will be. But if they kept it as a striking only match on the feet in the octagon cage, that could be interesting. That could really be beneficial to McGregor as well as Mayweather, but we'll see if that actually plays out. I don't necessarily think it will, but that's kind of the only alternative, the only silver lining I could see possibly play out if McGregor loses to Cowboy on the feet. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. McGregor's got so much at stake. Do you think he wins? Do you hope he wins? Because if he doesn't, good for Cowboy. But at the end of the day, 2020 will be much more exciting if we see McGregor 3 times. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. Thanks for watching.